The backstory. The year is 1946. The year when the atomic bomb testing off the shores of the Bikini Atoll by the United States military took place. Just before the bomb was detonated, unbeknownst to the military, a lone oceanic Godzillasaurus was patrolling one of its numerous territories. Unfortunately for this amazing dinosaur, a true survivor from a bygone era, was hit by the flash of light and extreme heat, stunning the poor beast and sinking it into the crushing darkness of the abyss. 8 years have passed and there have been reports of ships being lost at sea and are starting to become more frequent. One of the newest reported sinkings was of the fishing trawler the Maru. The cause was unknown, but after a few short days the Japanese were made aware of what sank the ship. A massive beast of unknown origin to the peoples of Japan. Further evidence had to be found. So a small team of scientists and reporters made their way to Odo Island, which was the closest land mass to where the Maru was sunk. Upon arriving, the locals told stories of a godlike creature that lived beneath the waves known to them as Gojira. The anatomy. Gojira is a miracle of life and the horrific outcome of radiation. This beast was either blessed or cursed with rejuvenating power. But as you can see, looking at his head, it continues to bleed from its eyes, nose, ears, and gills. Though its skin is charred and burned to a hard rock-solid shell that protects it from shell fire, bombs, tanks, and rockets, it suffers internally. Its living tissue dies, but is regrown just to die again. It is a vicious cycle that is never-ending. This dinosaur that was once an oceanic Godzillasaurus has become a new breed of animal. Its flipper-like limbs have lost its folding paddle look and has been charred and burned down to thin spindly fingers on an arm that looks to be just skin and bone. The back plates no longer are sleek and hydrodynamic as they once were. After the blast, the plates were burned and damaged. The radiation that the poor beast took in also changed its cellular system. Its body quickly went to work on repairing the injuries. However, thanks to the massive amount of radiation, the cells were in overdrive and kept building and repairing. The tissue repaired would die and so would repair itself but die again. The constant death and regrowth of tissue caused sharp and jagged spires to grow in odd angles. The heat that was generated by the radioactive cells rebuilding and dying caused the outer sides of the plates to boil. The skin and bone would bubble up due to the extreme heat, but would get cooled by the ocean, which caused the boils to sink in on themselves, leaving craters behind like those seen on the moon's surface. Another gruesome aspect of Gojira that shows how much pain and suffering this atomic monster has to endure is what happened to its tail. Observing this beast, it is seen that the spinous process of the tail are exposed. The flesh that the spines are jutting out of is always bleeding. As the tail sways, the muscle stretches and tears, reopening the areas around the spinous process, in which causes the heavily radiated cells to quickly regenerate. However, due to the extreme heat from the regeneration, it melts the tissue that was remade. This is why the areas around the exposed bone always looks raw. Its atomic power. Gojira absorbed a massive amount of radiation which caused not only its enormous growth and change to its molecular structure, but also endowed this monster with an ability that was once thought to be only seen in stories and fairy tales. Gojira can breathe fire. However, it isn't as simple as that. This fire isn't really fire at all, more it is a highly flammable mist. To explain this further, let's take a closer look at this remarkable ability. It has been observed that this mist becomes combustible once it comes into contact with any object it touches. Why this happens is due to the tremendous amount of radiation within the mist. This is why it was given the name atomic breath. What is outstanding about this ability is that there is a clear visible sign that is displayed before and during the expelling of the atomic breath. Its double row of dorsal spines flash and glow with a pale blue light of atomic energy. It is unknown why this phenomenon happens. It could be the effect of chemical compounds that are being supercharged by the irradiated cells within the creature's body, or possibly the plates are a part of a chemical channel that is part of the complex system that allows Gojira to belch forth the radioactive cocktail it has stored within its body. What is interesting to note is that this mist does not spread out and condense like what a fog machine is able to display. The mist is expelled in a straight stream or like a beam. It is unclear as to why, though it does allow for Gojira to be deadly accurate and precise when he breathes out his atomic fury. The end of a monster. Because of all the destruction and ruin to Japan, and all the lives lost due to Gojira's rage, the atomic giant had to be stopped. However, the government had no way of doing so. Modern weapons had no effect on this creature. The outlook was bleak for the citizens of Japan. Though, there was a scientist who created a devastating compound that could annihilate the oxygen molecules within water. Knowing all life needs oxygen to live, it was a possibility to end the threat of Gojira forever. Once the compound was released into the waters where Gojira was located, the molecular compound quickly took effect. With no oxygen in the water, Gojira's body quickly began to deteriorate and break down. The monster's atomic cells tried to repair the dying tissue, but due to the lack of oxygen in the water to help with the rebuilding process, there was nothing that Gojira's body could do to save itself. All that was left after the bubbling churning soup was over was a pile of bones. Even the pile was soon disintegrated in the oxygen-less soup, leaving no trace of the atomic terror. The peoples of Japan learned that day, if atomic testing continues, without checks and balances, that, maybe, it could be possible that somewhere out there another Gojira could rise again.
Thank you for watching this video, and thank you all for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate all the support. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit the bell to be notified when I post my next video. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share this video so everyone else can get a chance to see this content. Until next video, everyone.